Hey everyone, this is Crystal, and I am here today with week 18 in my 2020 Project Life album. I have my photos printed. I have the June Cravings kit from Citrus Twist Kits. This is the first time I'll be using this kit, so I am super excited to play with all these really beautiful things. I have no plan. I haven't even looked too closely at the kit in relation to these photos. So we're just starting from scratch here. We're going to play around and see what happens. So I'm going to start by figuring out where my photos are going to go since I haven't done that yet. And I've spent some time just trying to get a good balance. A couple of these photos are very similar, so I thought maybe I would take one off, but I don't really have that many, so I'm going to go ahead and keep all of these photos on the spread. And then I'm just going to start by going through the cards that came in the kit. I had that tiny photo that was of a Thursday 3, and it fit perfectly on that happening card. So I know I want to use that. And that rainbow card is just beautiful. So I really want to use that. I know I keep saying this, but the colors in this kit are absolutely gorgeous. Citrus Twist is totally knocking it out of the park with these kits. They are absolutely beautiful, and there were so many things. I had a really hard time choosing which of the beautiful things to use on this first spread from this kit. So none of the 4x6 cards really worked for my title card. So instead I'm going to use one of the 6x8 papers that comes in the kit. I've picked out a few and I'm just trying to decide between them. All of these are either kind of neutral or colors that show up in that rainbow. So I was trying to just figure out which of the colors really needed more representation on the page. And then also, because the alphas in this kit are that light pink, really beautiful light pink, I wanted to make sure that they would show up on my title card as well. So I went with that yellow pattern card, and I really love the way that that looks. So next I'm going to go through the ephemera pack and just see what's here. This is the first time I've opened it, so I'm just kind of playing around, seeing what's here and what will work with the stories and the photos that I have this week. And also thinking that that rainbow card is just going to be a filler card. So I'm wondering if I can find a die cut that will work just to create a little embellishment cluster there or something like that. So just playing around and kind of going through everything and figuring out what I like. So I pulled out a couple of die cuts that I thought might work on that rainbow card. I don't actually end up using either of those. I come up with another solution, as you'll see here in just a minute. So you can see that this die cut pack is full. It is jam-packed with stuff. There is so much here. It's taking me quite a while to go through it all, and I'm kind of separating out. I was starting to pull out all of the florals. There are some really gorgeous florals in this set. So I was pulling those out and kind of keeping them in the third little bin of this container, thinking maybe I would use those on my title card. I end up saving them for another project, but yeah, just so much, so many options, so many beautiful things. So I moved on now to this chipboard set, trying to think if there's anything here that would work. There's one that I think is going to work on that happening card, but I'm going to wait because I want to make sure I get everything else stuck down the way it needs to be before I add the chipboard. And then there's also that puffy sticker set, so I was looking through that. And then, as if that weren't enough, there is also the cut apart sheet and the tag set, the digital tags that released this month. So what I'm going through right now is the cut apart, and you may notice it's a bit of a mess. It's because I actually have 3 sets of this cut apart sheet in this pack. I was attempting to do the print and cut for the first time, and I struggled a bit with getting it to work. So the first 2 didn't work entirely. They didn't turn out perfectly. A lot of things were kind of chopped off, or I had to trim around them. But instead of just throwing those away, I figure I could definitely still use these. A lot of them, especially with labels, I end up cutting off the edge of them usually anyway. So it didn't bother me that these weren't perfect. I'm keeping them. I'm using them. And then I do have a set that actually did work. So I do have a full set as well, but I might as well use these kind of slightly damaged ones if I can. Okay, and then here is that digital tag set. There are all these little tickets in this set, and I am in love with them. So I will definitely use one of those here on this spread. So now that I've kind of gone through everything and seen what I had to work with, I'm just going to start kind of playing around with all of these little clusters that I plan to put on my photos. So I'm starting with this one, and I have that Me Time die cut, which I really like, and I'm just trying to create a little cluster of other embellishments around it just to bring in some more color and some added texture and dimension, and really just kind of playing around. This is the fun part. This is the part I like the most, the combining of different elements to make these little clusters on my pages, and using them to help tell the story. So I'm doing the same thing on this photo of Foxy, and I have a little label there in one of the die cut phrases, and I am looking through these tiny phrase stickers, the tiny word stickers, and seeing if there's one that will work here, because I'm thinking maybe I want to kind of cluster and layer those two phrases together, just like that. So I find one that works, and this is going to serve as kind of, it's going to take the place of any journaling I would normally do on the tag, just because I have two large journaling spots that I can tell all the stories on. So I don't really need to add anything to these photos. I can just tell all the stories on the card just above and just below where this photo sits. Okay, so just moving on and working out where else I can add some pretty things. You can see I added that rainbow and a little phrase die cut to that journaling card just below the photo I was working on before. That's going to stay there. I really love the way that looks, and then I'm going to add my journaling below that. I am also looking at the stamps because I know I want to add a few stamps to some of these photos and journaling cards. So I'm just kind of getting a feel for what is there. I have both the stamp that came in the Cravings kit, as well as the Traveler's Notebook stamp and the This Is Life stamp from this month. And yeah, just kind of going through all those phrases. There's so many on these stamps, trying to figure out which ones really work best. I have a photo of our grill. We were grilling a rotisserie chicken, and it was one of the first times we really grilled out this year, so we documented that, and I'm just adding a little stamp. I think that one says "Get in My Belly," and then another die cut above it, and that little tag with the fork and spoon from the cut apart sheet. So that is going to be my little cluster for that photo, and I can just add it in the blank space there in the top corner. And I really like to build my clusters separately, like before I glue them down to my photos or journaling cards, just because then I can get the spacing and the placement of them perfectly before I stick them down, and then I can see exactly where they need to sit on the photo so that they're not obscuring anything important. For this one, I have that chipboard piece that I really wanted to include, but it's going to end up covering up the little spot on this card for a date. I don't really need to add the date here. So to make it cover it up completely so you can't see part of the word beneath it, I'm just going to layer up a couple of labels, and you'll see I do use one that was cut off from one of my my mistake print and cut sheets. So I was able to use that. I just cover it up with the other label and layer that chipboard piece on top, and it worked out perfectly. And then that's going to cover up that date spot on this happening card completely, so you can't even tell that there was a spot there for journaling. And then I'm also going to add a little die cut heart just to kind of fill in the bottom of that space. Okay, so now I think I am thinking about that filler card and wondering how I can create just a pretty little piece for the center of this page. And I took away those two die cuts, and I've decided maybe I want to try stamping. So I've been really trying to do a better job of using these stamps kind of to their full ability, I guess. I mean, I tend to just kind of stamp little phrases here and there, but as I've shown you, always on the back side of these stamps, they have these kind of guides for how to use the stamps and layer them and group them together to make really beautiful embellishments. And I really want to try that this month. So I went away and grabbed some inks that matched the colors in this kit. I used my ink swatch, which I've shown you before, and pulled out some that I thought matched the colors, and I'm going to, on the scrap paper, just try and build something that will work as an embellishment on that filler card. So I'm just grabbing a few of the stamps from this kit. I'm using that kind of guide that's on the back side of the stamp set and seeing how I want to layer things together. And I'm just going to start playing around. So that yes is layerable. There's a solid and an outline, and you can layer the two together, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm making sure to hit all of these stamps with my sand eraser just to make sure that I get a really good crisp impression. When I stamp them, I just lightly go over them with the stamp eraser and then just kind of wipe it off with my finger just to make sure that there's no residue left over. So I stamped the solid in gray, and then I stamped the outline in black, and now I'm adding a little half circle around the top of it in pink, and then this other kind of square phrase below it in purple. And I thought about doing the ampersand as well, just to give it a little bit more, I don't know, dimension, I guess, or another little bit of interest. And I really like the way it looks. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be brave and stamp that directly onto that filler card. And I don't have to worry about it too much because I do have the digital set of cards. So if I mess this up, I can just print another one. So that's a little bit freeing, knowing that I can always just print another card if I need to, but I don't need to. It ends up turning out just fine. So yeah, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I print the solid piece in gray, the outline in black, and I do offset it purposefully just to give it a little bit more interest. And then that half circle piece in pink and the square or rectangular phrase in purple. And then I will end up adding a few other embellishments to give this card some dimension. So I'll add a puffy sticker and a chipboard piece just to keep it from looking too flat on the page. But I love the way it turns out. I think it's perfect. I think it's really cute. And I need to do this more often. I need to make better use of my stamps like this because that is just too cool. Okay, that's it. That's that filler card done. So I think I'm about to work on my title card and try and figure out how I want to make this title card work. So I know I'm going to use these alphas, the ones that came in the kit. They're beautiful light pink. I love these alphas. I love this font. These are my favorite alphas of all time. The puffy alphas from Citrus Twist. I tend to hoard them a bit. I have a whole stack of them. But yeah, love them. So trying to figure out how to create a cluster with these alphas as my title and another little label, and seeing what I can do to make a spot for them on this page. So I grabbed that rainbow label from the bottom photo, and it was one that was cut off. It was one from one of the mistake print and cuts, but I really wanted the whole label, so I went and found the one from the print and cut that actually worked, and got it instead. And I'm going to use that as the basis for my cluster here, and I'm just playing around with all the other things that I've pulled out so far from this kit and seeing what I can add to it to make just a little cluster in the center of this 4x6 card, or paper actually. And then I thought about maybe adding another layer of paper. So I pulled out the other papers that I had considered using for my title card to see if any of those would work as just a layer behind these labels. But I end up just sticking with the labels, just kind of layering them together, adding my title to the one with the rainbow, and adding my dates to the other one, and just kind of offsetting them a little bit so they're not perfectly straight. And that's going to be all I do for this title card. I kept it really simple. There's kind of a lot going on this page already, so I didn't need to really do too much. So yeah, I really like the way it ends up looking, especially with that little rainbow behind the title. Okay, so I can finally go ahead and glue down this last piece. I think This is the last one. Oh no, I haven't glued down that rainbow at the bottom, but I was considering running it through my typewriter, so I didn't want to glue that down until I had done that. I don't end up typewriting my journaling, I end up handwriting it, but yeah, I still left that to give me the option of running it through my typewriter. Okay, so I have one more photo that I haven't created a cluster for, and that's that bottom one next to the rainbow journaling card. I don't add any to the other photo in the center of the page, but I do want to add a little bit to this bottom one. So I'm just finding a couple labels that I felt would work well on this photo and looking at the puffy stickers to see what else I can layer together. And then I'm going to do some more stamping here. So I'm just looking through the stamps again to see if there is one that works for this photo. It's really hard to see on film, but it's a photo of our cat, Scrunchy. She has a new favorite spot in our house on a folded up duvet, so it's like super thick and cozy, comfy. We set it on a chair in front of an open window in our bedroom, and she spends all her day there. Like she can see our bird feeder in our backyard, and it's super cozy and comfy, and she'll just stay there the whole day. That's her favorite spot. So we went outside and took a photo of her from the outside so you could kind of see her through the window, and that's what this photo is. Okay, so I added a stamp there, and I'm adding another little phrase sticker. And then I think I handwrite some journaling in that label. I think I do add a little bit of the story there. But I'm about to go away and do all of my journaling. And once I turned the camera off, I realized I just needed to handwrite all of it. I thought it would look a bit better than if I had typed it. And that was just kind of on a whim. I thought that would be the best thing to do. Not that I gave it too much thought. So I'm going to come back here, and my journaling is done. It's all handwritten, and I can go ahead and glue down these final few embellishments and add some finishing touches. I do still have to glue down my title cluster as well, but I think nearly everything else is done here. So I'm going to stamp the dates, and I think just do the day and the month. I don't think I add the year here just because that label is pretty small, and I needed to fit 2 months since this is a week that spans April and May. So I added that, and then I think I just handwrite 2 in between, and then I can glue these 2 labels and that little cluster down to the center of my title card. And then I think that's just about it for this spread. So there are some close-up photos coming up. You can see all of the details of this spread. Be sure to go check out the blog post that goes along with this as well on the Citrus Twist Kits blog. That'll let you see those close-up photos even better. And if you did like this video and found some inspiration, then please do give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you like what I'm doing and that I should do more of it. And if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please go ahead and do that. We'd love to have you as part of this little group. And make sure you hit that bell button so that you get notified when I upload new videos. Thank you all so very much for watching. Everything I've used here will be linked down below, and I will see you all back here very soon.